All right. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to basically talk through the a little bit more of the tactical. So, we talked a lot about peso. We've talked a lot about, just conceptually what this all means, right? And in between, we've been building your brands and, well, trying to build your brand and focus on, your personal brand and, build your network so that when you're graduated, then you can go in and get that job easily or get that, at least get called in for an internship is really what the goal is. So we're gonna spend. We talked about paid media a little bit, and it was super quick. But what we're gonna do now is we're going to go into the more of the tactical, right? Of what does it actually mean? What does content marketing, content strategy? What does that mean on Facebook? What does that mean on LinkedIn? What does that mean on Twitter or Instagram? And so I'm gonna walk you through some of these channels, but there's a couple basic concepts that are applicable to all of them. And I think it's great that we had Denise come talk to us because she talked about storytelling, and that's really what it is. It's how do you tell stories in a place in a social ecosystem so that you can get your brand understood, so that you can drive some type of action, build awareness about your new startup or your new app, or drive sales or downloads of apps if that's what you're doing. So, but it really does revolve around storytelling, right? And I talked about a couple weeks ago how the goal for you is to surround sound your audiences with relevant and repetitive content, right? Whether they're Googling content, whether they're Googling on, they're Googling information or driving up and down 101, looking at billboards or on some type of media site, looking at banner advertising. All of those messages have to be consistent. And that is what stories have to be, right? Because that's how we connect and relate to brands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you guys just a couple of examples of some brands that most of you know. Can you guys see my screen? You can? Okay. All right. So there's Denise's LinkedIn profile. So make sure you guys connect with her. All right. I'm going to start off with LinkedIn because I think LinkedIn is one of those places where, not a lot of people and students pay attention to, at least from a business standpoint, because a lot of consumer brands and even cool brands like Fast AF, like those are brands that are probably using LinkedIn very differently than a company like eBay or a technology company. They're probably using it for, culture or driving, getting people to, you know, apply to their, positions and open positions. They're talking about thought leadership and things like this. So I want to talk about just overall what it means to tell stories on eBay or on LinkedIn. And this is eBay's page, and my wife works there. And I want to just kind of dissect a couple of some content, just so that you can understand what this all means, right? So this class is super important. So please pay attention. I am recording it and I'll post it on LinkedIn. I mean, on YouTube. I'm all confused today. I'll post it on YouTube and, you guys can always review it later. But this is eBay's page. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions is that people go to brand pages. Like, hey, I'm going to log into LinkedIn one day. I'm going to go to the eBay page. What are they up to? Let me see what Amazon is up to. Maybe Nike, maybe NBA. Nobody does that. Nobody in any platform. They don't go purposely to brand pages unless you're on a mission and you're looking for information and you want to buy something, right? You go and you log into Instagram. You don't go to brand pages. When you log into Snapchat, you don't click on the brands unless they're super cool. Same thing with Facebook, right? You spend your time in the feed. All you do is scroll, right? You scroll. I remember back in the day when Facebook was a thing. All these people would. I might have mentioned this before. All these people would, oh, I'm single. The next day is, oh, I'm in a relationship. The next day, I'm single. It's like, dude, really? People are doing that for. People understand the algorithm because they know when they post stuff like that, it drives engagement, likes, comments, pity, right? That's why I'm not a big fan of personally sharing. I share some personal things on social media, but not. When my mom passed away in 2017, I never posted that, right? Because that's something that I feel deeply about, and I don't want to just call attention to myself, right? Not everybody's like that. So, and everybody has their own, and their own way of thinking. But even people know what drives engagement, right? Because back in the day, you would never see people posting photos on their feed. But as when even when posting status updates, because now you can post a status update in a little creative box that launched a couple years ago, and because it was visual and people were scrolling, they would see it and they would click on it. Okay, so the idea here is I'm scrolling through my feed now. I'm on the LinkedIn page, the eBay page, but if I see this on my LinkedIn feed, I'm not very impressed, right? I don't care about a big logo. Like, what's the point for me? And all of this, and you guys know this, right? I'm going to highlight this text here. That's hard to read. 3 lines, it looks like one long run-on sentence. And I have no idea. And eBay has 2 to 3 seconds to get my attention to perform some type of action. And that action could be a follow, it could be a like, a comment, a share, or send it privately via some message. So this isn't the greatest post in my opinion. Now, the thing is though, is that a lot of LinkedIn pages are owned by HR. So you can't really blame, an HR person for not understanding kind of the roles of social media and then the anatomy of how posts actually work. So here's another example. So this was actually the CEO and eBay reposted. Okay. So Jamie, the CEO, I would love to give him some advice. Whoops. Because that post again is very, very hard to read. And I would bet, being a CEO of a company, that he has something good to say. So I would figure out the right way to break this up. I'm teaching you guys how to do this now, right? Break up the post so that it's easy to scroll and read and understand. This is a post. Now notice one thing, guys. I have to click see more, right, to read the entire post. What do you guys think with this particular post about the Green Power Partner? What do you think is eBay's objective with this post? What do they want you or I or somebody to do if they were to see this in their feed? Anybody?
Maybe if someone was thinking of eco-friendly shopping, they'd choose eBay over one of their competitors.
I mean, that's more of a maybe a psychological or biological way of thinking about it. But tactically, like, I'm posting this on eBay. Do I want people to actually click through and read this or not? What do you guys think? Like, I'm posting a link here. If I click this, and let me just do that, and let's just see where it takes me. I hope not a press release. Oh my, okay. Well, okay, it's really not a press release, but it's written in a way of like being a blog post. So that's better. But that's the goal, right? That's what eBay wants, to entice you or I to click through and read the post. Now, what's the problem with this post? Now, take notes here, guys, because this is real. Why would I want to tag people or add hashtags if I want someone to click through to a link? Because as a user, if I'm going here, what do? Do I click on Renee's profile page, who's the Chief Sustainability Officer? That might be an objective, and I might want to connect with her. But do I click on the hashtag, which is going to take me to a series of posts that are using that hashtag from across the world? Or do I want somebody to click on this and click through to the article? If I click here and I click here, it's going to take me to the same place, right? This image is clickable. Notice my mouse, it's clickable. So this, to me, the person who was thinking about this post wasn't thinking about their objective. Okay. And the objective is that I want people to click through and go to my website. And by giving me multiple choices, I don't know what to do. I don't know what eBay wants me to do. And I would bet that there's a lot of people who are not clicking through because maybe they click on Renee's profile first, or they click on the hashtag. Do you think they're going to come back to the eBay page and go back and click on the link to read the press release? No, nobody does that. Okay. So just keep that in mind as we look through a few of these other things. Okay. Here's another one. I like this one a little bit better because it's shorter, right? The entire copy is 3 lines. So I don't have to click more to read. Now they're tagging Opportunity Fund. I'm going to talk to you, and that's good and important. But again, what is the priority here? Do we want to tag Opportunity Fund so that people can go to the Opportunity Fund's LinkedIn page? Or do they want you to, or do they want you to, click through to the website and read that particular announcement or article or whatever that is. Okay, so again, there's a little bit of confusion here because we've talked a little bit about what a call to action is. A call to action is some type of trigger that is enticing a consumer or user to perform an action. And if I want the user to click through, now they're actually clicking. Okay, now I didn't even notice this. They're actually clicking through to a third-party website, right? Which is this nonprofit organization probably writing about this partnership. So maybe that's the case. Maybe, okay, driving traffic to our channel is not that important. We're going to drive traffic to this Opportunity Fund channel. We're also going to tag them so it's easy for people to connect with them on LinkedIn, because I can just do that even without clicking through. So I take this back. This isn't a terrible post, but let's keep going. Okay. Now I want you to notice the difference here. Notice my mouse, okay, and the cursor. If I click on this, what's going to happen? It's going to take me to this page, okay? It's some type of page talking about this spotlight, okay? Now, notice when I hover over this image, what do you think is going to happen if I do that? I'm hovering over the image, and if I click on it, what's it going to do? Does anybody know?
Is it just
maybe it's just, yeah.
Say that again.
Is it just going to be an image?
Exactly. Who said that?
Jittery.
Okay, that's amazing. Watch. Boom. Okay. Same thing happens on Facebook, right? And Twitter, right? When you post an image and it's not linked to a URL, then there's nowhere. Now they do put a link in here, right? This is the link that they're adding. So this is kind of a different style of posting. And it's another press release, unfortunately. But you'll notice here, if I scroll up, notice this little background right here. It's a description and a URL, right? That's when you know that the image is linked to a URL. In this case, what they did is they uploaded an image first, then they typed out this chat, right? Now, again, this to me is not the greatest post because A, they're tagging this nonprofit. B, there's the link here. I would probably put the link a little bit closer to the front of the post. And then C, there's another hashtag, right? So when you think about driving clicks, what else could you do in the platform that is valuable in any platform? When I say shareable or snackable content, what does that mean to you? Anybody?
Short and concise, maybe.
Well, can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Like have a condensed, how do I put it? Like have enough information that the viewer knows what you're talking about, but not so dragged on that they kind of lose focus.
I mean, I like that description, but that's not what I was referring to, but I kind of like where you're going. When I say shareable or snackable content, that means it's entertaining, it's funny, it's informative, it's comedy, it's in some cases provocative, and it's meant to drive what I would call virality, right? Which means a post like this is not going to do that because you don't want them to do that. You want people to click. You don't want people to share. So when I say shareable or snackable, it's bite-sized pieces of content that are meant to be shared, right? And the idea here is if with every link in any platform, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, what have you, any link is what's going to happen when you click on it, right? You're not only going to go to a web page, you're going to go off of the app, right? So if I click on this and not open it up with the new tab, it's going to take me off LinkedIn. Do you think LinkedIn wants that? They don't. LinkedIn wants to keep, as does every app, they want you to stay in the app and they have super smart psychologists. And anybody watch The Social Experiment? What's that show on Netflix? What is it, Antonio?
Social Dilemma.
I was gonna call it Social Experiment. Yeah, it was funny, right? How those three guys were trying to manipulate people. Trust me, it's like that because they create these triggers that addict us, right? Streaks is a great example. I don't know how many times it's like, I tell my daughter, put your phone away. Oh, let me do my streaks real quick, please, please. Or she gives her friends access to Snapchat when she's on vacation or something so that they can, do her streaks. That it was created by somebody who's genius, who knew that if they were to create that trigger, that kids would be logging in every single day. Okay. So when I say all that, what I'm referring to here is like all these posts that we've been looking at are driving people off the app. It's not really shareable, because if I click on any of these two, like the hashtag or this page, it's going to keep me in LinkedIn, but it's going to take me off of eBay's page, right? So from a LinkedIn standpoint, that doesn't really matter, because you keep people in the app. And the reason why you want to keep them in the app is because that's how they make money. They make money by selling advertising. And when they have enough inventory to sell advertising, they can mark up costs, or they can mark up their CPMs or what have you, and they just make billions of more money. So they want you to stay in the app. Okay. Here's another example of a video. Okay. This is a very quick video. It's 28 seconds, and there's a link. So, I would have to dissect this a little bit more, but I would ask myself, is the video, by putting a video here, am I taking away from the link? Right? Because I could just watch the video and say, oh, that's cool. That's enough information. Hold on a second. Okay. That scared me. Okay. So, you see my point? Like, what, in other words, as a marketer, whatever you do, you have to think about the user. What do you want them to do, and how can you create an environment where they can do it easily and conveniently? Okay. So by looking at some of these posts, it's just not that obvious to me what you want them to do. Okay. Here's an example of what I would call shareable content, right? Notice the post, there's no link. There's no link. They're not linking off domain. They put a cool little video with an iPhone, popping up and down with little messaging. That's kind of a cool thing, right? And what they don't do is they don't add, I would have added a hashtag, an appropriate one. And just because from a visibility standpoint, you want to be able to be seen so that people do share your content. Okay. So in this case, the objective of this piece of content is to drive engagement. Engagement is a like, a comment, or a share. These others, the objective, whether they know it or not, it's to drive clicks. So huge difference in how you create content and, your approach to doing so. Here's one. This is an employee or intern spotlight. I like the fact that they're doing this because it's, they're even tagging their interns. I think it's pretty cool. The only area of feedback I have here is just a lot of text, right? That's too much, in my opinion. So people aren't going to spend time reading a paragraph because it's on an image, right? The image is cool. I would have put a shorter quote or something, and or a video, maybe that would be better. Here's an example of a video being posted with the link, tagging the VP of operations and Forbes. So this is even more confusing. What do? I go to Forbes. Let's go to Forbes, see what they're doing. Okay. And then eBay loses that audience because they're not going to click the back button. Is all this making sense? Okay. Because this might be on the final. Okay. So I'm going to transition to, Facebook. How many of you are like REI, like the brand? Anybody? Pretty cool gear. All right. So this is REI, and many of you may not have Facebook pages, but I mean, Facebook is still the top social network globally, and I think they're trying to get cooler, right? They acquired WhatsApp, and Instagram obviously is more geared toward the younger generation, but Facebook is still a place to drive business value, and REI. There's, again, think about REI. Think about, as a marketing person, what do you want to do? If you have a Facebook page, what's the reasoning for having that Facebook page? Do you want to drive awareness about REI and what you're doing in the community? Do you want to drive sales, or do you want to do both? Okay, so let's take a look at some of their posts and figure out what it is they're trying to do. Okay, this was just posted back on September 14th about voting, so we're just going to skip that. Excuse me. Okay, so this is cool, right? Quick 45-second video. I don't know if there's any. Let's see. Okay, there is audio there. So, you know, this is a pretty decent post, right? There's some spacing in between the first and second paragraph. You know, they're linking to this, you know, there's a cool piece of creative. Notice the creative here. What do you notice that about this creative that's maybe different than what we just saw on LinkedIn? Anybody? Think about it from a sizing standpoint.
I mean, since you already kind of gave it away, for Facebook, it has a more square dimensions that would also work well with Instagram, I think, for the posting. But
That's a very good.
For LinkedIn, it's the regular rectangular shape.
Yeah, well, that's a great point. But here's the thing. It's more about mobile experiences, right? Because if I view it, this is considered a 1080 by 1080. That's the pixel dimensions, which is the same size. It's a perfect square. The ratio is one to one. So when you post this on Instagram, obviously everything is square unless you do those weird smaller ones, what have you. But even on on LinkedIn, you can do the same thing, right? And many people don't, because they don't understand that the majority of the content consumed on social media is mobile. So going back to eBay, none of this creative is maybe this one, none of this creative is optimized for mobile consumption, right? This is 19 by 20 or 19, I can't remember what it is, but it's more horizontal, right? Okay, so nothing is square here.
Is LinkedIn used more on the phone? I've always used it more on the computer than my phone, but that could just be me.
It's just you. No offense. No, I mean, I think as you enter into the workforce, you'll use it on your phone. Trust me. Okay. So let's go back here. Okay. REI. So they got this is a podcast. It looks like they took some audio from that. Notice here. Now what's cool about this, right? They're talking about a holiday gift guide. The call to action is to shop early and avoid long lines. How relevant is that right now in COVID? I don't know. But, you know, they want you to, what do they want you to do here?
Go to their website.
It is. And exactly. So if I click on this image, what happens? I go to their website and hopefully there's gift guides or something here that I can see and potentially buy. Yep. Perfect, right? This is a good post. This post is meant not to drive shareability. Now, people are going to share it, obviously, but that's not the objective. The objective is to drive people to the website and hopefully purchase products. Here's another one. Stay dry, have fun, even when the trail is wet. Okay, so this, I would call this not a tagline, but think about this. You're scrolling through your feed. You're probably going to notice the image first. You're going to see tips for hiking in the rain. If you're interested in hiking or you like the outdoors, it's going to grab your attention, right? So you're going to read this. This is going to hook you. The image, the whole creative element, whether, you know, the combination of the image and the titling down here is the hook. And then you read this, right? And that would be the payoff. So they're going to hook you with that attention. And they're going to pay it off by saying, stay dry, have fun, even when the trail is wet, right? Say it out loud. Stay dry, have fun, even when the trail is wet. I mean, it just rolls off the tongue. It's easy, it's fun, it's memorable. And I'm going to click through and buy product. Okay. I have no idea what this is. Skip that. Okay. So more voting here. That's good. Let me go to... Nike women. Okay. So this is interesting. Okay. I didn't come here first. Okay. So here's Nike women. They updated their cover photo. That's what this first photo is. Interesting use of imagery, right? It's very horizontal, right? They're using emojis here of some sort. They're linking to probably Nike, the e-commerce piece of it. Let's see. Yep. Ooh, the link is dead. If anybody from Nike ever watches this video, bad. That's very bad. Okay. So, but look at, notice the image. What happens when I click on the image, guys? it goes to the image details page. That's what that is, right? I don't love that strategy because what you want to do is you want to drive people to a website. And for the user who's scrolling through their feed and say, oh, new wardrobe from Nike Women, great, I'm going to click on this. They're going to expect to go to this URL to buy it. And when they click on this, they're going to go here. And then they're going to be like, oh, maybe I need to go over here. Oh, here's the URL. They're not going to do that. Nobody does that. So again, it goes back to the objective and storytelling and the hook and the payoff so that you can hook someone and get their attention. And then the payoff is going to cause them to drive action, whether that action is a like, a comment, a share, which what I would call more engagement focused metrics, or a click, right? Which is more of an ROI metric because you're hoping that they buy and you can make money. Here's another example, still using hashtags. And, again, the reality is though, I mean, look at the engagement here. This is Nike, guys. This is the Nike or Nike Women. Okay. How many 5.5 million people. And look at this photo here. This has 957 engagements, 82 comments, 48 shares. This one has only 130 and 8 shares. Now, again, we haven't even talked about paid and how paid comes into effect here. So that's, you have to remember, like, some of these things just might be for paid in many instances. Okay. Any questions just overall, right? We're talking about the anatomy of content and how it's not just the style and the creative that you use, but it's also how you position it, right? And that's why from the very beginning of the classes, I wanted you to write on LinkedIn so that you can start thinking about, clear, crisp, concise stories that are easily to consume. Because that at the end of the day, there is so much media and content in the marketplace, it's really difficult to get people's attention. So this is HP's linked Twitter page, Twitter handle. And, HP it's a tech company. I would say they're a pretty cool company. And, again, you may not use Twitter, but there's a lot of opportunity for B2B marketers to do that. Now let's go through some of their pages here. Notice here, you'll see, again, you'll see hashtags. Well, that's actually a retweet. So let me go down here. Okay. 4 surprising ways AI can make your conference count. Here's what CIOs need to know. I like this post a lot because they're it's not clickbait, but it's almost like, if you want to learn about AI and how to make it work in your conferences, you need, and you're a CIO or you work for a CIO, you have to read this. Now that is all clickable, right? That entire, excuse me, that entire piece is clickable and it's taking them. And here's what I love about it is, what do you notice when I click on it and when I go to the landing page? Okay, so here's and I just have my whole browser dark mode. I just don't like it to be light. So obviously this would normally be white, but what do you notice about when I click on this and then when it takes me to HPE, this page?
It's the same picture.
It's the same picture, right? So there's relevancy there. The last thing you want to do is create a piece of content that is black and pink and then and says 60%, and then take them to a page where there's no data points and there's people dressed in white and blue. So there's no connection. So there has to be some type of connection, whether it's through the creative or the language, so that there's a sense of relevancy. Because if I click the back button or if I clicked out of this browser, that would be considered a bounce, right? That means that I would get to this page and after 20 seconds, I would say, nope, it's not what I was looking for, back button, or click out of it. So that's more of a web analytics thinking. So here's one. I really like this one. This takes into consideration some of the things that I've been talking to you guys about, right? It's short, very concise, bullet points here. There's a link to this. They have a 37-second video that is probably linking to a larger video. Maybe it's on the YouTube page. We'll see. Okay, no, it's a video on their website, that's fine too. But again, there's relevancy, and they give you a little bit of the story here, right? So this could be, and look at 480,000 views, 18 retweets, 56 likes, 5 comments. I mean, this is a pretty decent post. it's a really good post, and they're driving engagement, right? And clicks. Okay, here's another one. So remember, I clicked on this image, and what happened? I went to the website, right? What happens when I click on this image? And it's the same thing that we've been talking about. It's the image details page. And to me, all of this is way confusing, right? All of these, like, I would probably have hit enter right here, dive in with host Bernard Marr, and he's an influencer, and maybe added the link. I don't know. To me, there's like, what do I do, right? There's so many different calls to action for that post. It's not, I don't think that they, are achieving what they want, are trying to achieve with that. Okay. Let's go to Instagram. Anybody have a favorite Instagram brand that they follow?
I have a favorite Instagram influencer that I like.
Well, we'll talk about that during our influencer page, or excuse me, class. But any brands that you follow?
We do Hype.
Who?
Hype Beast.
How do you spell that?
Hype and Beast. Yeah.
Okay, so let's dissect this. Now with Instagram, you get a little bit more freedom, right? With Instagram, you can have several hashtags. The key back in the day was you posted and then you added all your hashtags in the first comment. And since then, I think that doesn't work as well as it used to. But you do have a character count limit in Instagram in your post copy. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to analyze Instagram on the mobile, on the web browser. It's easier if you're scrolling, but I don't know how to connect my phone to that. But again, I like this. It's this is a cool. Obviously, they're using a lot of creative imagery. It's Instagram. I would highly recommend that you read through some of these the post copy. I call it ad copy. It's the same thing. It's a headline. These are headlines. The better you get at writing headlines, the better you will achieve the desired result, right? The desired result might be a click, or in some cases, a share. Now, the thing with Instagram, though, is you can't add links, right? In the post copy. So you've probably seen people say, hey, click on the link in my bio, right? Now, that's a little bit more difficult. So the question then is, if a client says, or your company says, well, how do we use Instagram? What do we do? Can we use Instagram to drive sales? Now, maybe you could, but you might want to ask yourself, well, is it a better platform to maybe build brand love, right? Could we build a community of people who love our brand and give them content that they can share? And that is our sole, objective of using Instagram, is to just drive brand awareness and drive advocacy, customer advocacy. So again, these are questions that you just need to ask yourself. And a lot of it is common sense. Once you learn the ins and outs of how these things work.
Professor.
Yeah.
So I saw this. I forgot. There was an Instagram account. I forgot if it was a soccer Instagram account or a clothing one, but it basically it tells you to click the link in the bio. And then that link leads you to this website where it has all their posts. And then you choose the one that you were trying to look at, and that you click that post, and then it sends you directly to the link that they wanted you to open up.
Oh, yeah, that's not a good experience.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm going to buy these shoes. That's why I opened these up in a new browser. Those are sick. I like those a lot.
The white ones look fire.
Huh?
The white ones look pretty dope.
Yeah, I like the sole, the leather sole. All right, sorry, guys. Anyway, so well, there's some interesting tech brands. So again, I want to give you. It's easier for Instagram and Snapchat if you're a consumer brand. So anybody out there, what name some consumer brands? What are some good consumer brands out there? Some cool ones, some products that you might buy. Anybody?
Dossier. It's a makeup brand though.
Okay. Bobbi Brown, Lancome, what's that one where they have all like next to Target? They have all Ulta. Is it Ultra or Ulta?
Ulta.
Yeah. Yep. We're almost done. Okay. Does anybody recognize this brand here? This logo right here? Dude,
Yeah.
one of the oldest brands in the world, right? General Electric. And honestly, they have one of the best Instagram channels out there. All it is it's freaking cool, like machine technology, right? Now notice, what are they doing here? They're storytelling, right? They're using the right style. They have spaces, they have returns. They're tagging other pieces. They're using the right hashtags, right? This is a solid, and all it's doing, it's like a gear of some sort that's just moving. Here's one. This is a super cool image. Like, look at how small he is compared. I think this is some type of space. Just, what is this? Engines. It's an engine. It's a jet engine. Huge. Right. But the way that this was captured, it's a pretty sick photo, right? Do you guys agree? I mean, this isn't like they don't just hire an intern to do this. I mean, they actually put money to hire, photographer who maybe specializes in 1080 by 1080 photography or Instagram photography, and they post this. What else is here? This is a cool one. It's just cool looking photos. Now, this is a technology company, right? And by the way, this is part of what they do, right? They're powering a lot of these jet engines and, windmills and all these things. So it's a renewable energy. So it's relevant, and it's cool. Like, you wouldn't think of a boring, technology company to do cool photography like this, but if any of you are like science fiction or just, that's pretty cool. These are metal powders, it says. So anyway, I'm going to stop sharing and just open it up for a couple questions before we go. So the thing is with when I say the anatomy of a piece of social media content, it's there's certain variables that are constant across all platforms, right? And that is visual storytelling. So very rarely can you post just a status update with no photo, no video, and will it be effective or drive action, whatever action you want them to do. So visual storytelling, concise language, right? That's why a lot of brands are hiring copywriters. So if you're a good writer, you need to learn how to write headlines. And that's the whole point of this class, is because everything I think in headlines, everything that I say, everything that I do, every introduction I have, whether it's a new business meeting or a pitch meeting or what have you, I know what I'm going to say, and they're all headlines. And so perfect that art, because that's what you need to do in order, whether you're a marketer, PR, or you become a journalist, that's the point. Their headlines are the ones that drive action, right? To read your long form content, your articles. So that is a constant. There's another constant is understand what it is. Oh, Mike tried to get in like hours ago. Understand what it is that you're trying to achieve. Remember this phrase. Please write this down. Your goal as a marketer is to get an audience to do what you want them to do as easy as possible. Right? And that's in everything, from driving engagement in social media to driving clicks on paid search to making sure it's easy for someone to buy products on your website. When Amazon, I might have mentioned this before, and if I did, my bad. Amazon has one-click purchase. Does anybody use that, or has anybody used that in the past? It's literally scrolling through Amazon, you see something you like, click purchase, done. Right? And it's easy. And that's why I spend way too much money on Amazon. Okay. But they understand consumer behavior, and they make it easy for people to buy. They make it easy for people to do what they want us to do. So think about that in everything that you do, every type of marketing campaign, every program. If you're doing influencer marketing, we're going to talk about that next week or the week after. We're going to talk about influencer marketing, and it's the same thing. You're empowering third-party voices to drive consumers to do some type of action. And that action has to ladder up to business goals or marketing goals, right? It's sales, it's revenue, it's ROI, it's awareness, it's impressions, it's all those, vanity metrics. So that is the key takeaway from today is when you are scrolling through any social network that you prefer, look at what companies are doing. Try to think about what do you think they want you to do in that particular post? And are they being effective with it?